on the one hand, you've got mentorship, right? On the other hand, you've got various avenues of education, right? So, you've got, high school, you've got university, colleges, specialist schools, etc. But what the music business really thrives on, or at least the classic music business really thrives on, is apprenticeship, right? Because, so much of what we do is not something that you can be taught in a classroom. It's something that, you have to learn the hard way by, encountering the various situations, because, ultimately it's the creative process, right? And the creative process is, when you're not a creator like I am, I can't play the guitar, I can't sing a song, but yet I can get the best out of people. And I've learned how to get the best out of people because I've dealt with so many geniuses, whether it's Axl Rose, whether it's Elton John, whether it's Nile Rodgers, whether it's Beyonce. I've been blessed to be surrounded by geniuses and to see the way that they react to situations. I've, in many ways, I suppose, I've become a sort of horse whisperer for people that create. But the key element that I bring to that is that I listen. Now, on the one hand, it's obvious that I listen to the music, but on the other hand, what's not so obvious is that what I'm really doing is listening and watching these people at sometimes right under their nose and sometimes at a distance, so I can see what it is that works for them and what it is that doesn't work for them. Because my job is to create an environment where these people can be confident in and they can do their very, very best work without roadblocks or anything else. Because, for most people, God has given them this level of talent because he's left something else in their life imperfect, let's say, right? So you've got to be cognizant of, and each person is different. You've got to be cognizant of what it is that allows them to be confident and to deliver their best work. For me, mentorship is one where, on the one hand, I'm looking to mentor people, but on the other hand, what I'm also looking for is to teach them this business, because this business has a very, very bright future in front of it. Thanks to streaming, I can actually look someone in the eyes and say, actually, the best days of the music business are in front of you. They're not in front of me. I've already had my time. And while I still have some time left, that's all well and great. But the real glory days of this business, which only a few short years ago would have appeared to be part of my lifetime, are actually going to be a part of this 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old person's lifetime. So, on the one hand, mentorship, what's that about? It's about, expressing values to somebody. It's about, downloading experiences on them that hopefully will allow them to have shortcuts and accelerate their growth and success. But I also think, on the other hand, what you really want to do, and it doesn't matter whether you're a doctor or a lawyer or someone like myself in music, is you want to find somebody to mentor that has similar interests or that wants to follow a career path that's similar to yours, so that hopefully you can be also apprenticing them at the same time. So not only are you, expressing values and expressing common sense and other things that, as I say, can accelerate a person's growth, but hopefully you're also able to teach them something about the trade that they want to be in, so that they can follow in your path. Because nothing could make me prouder than to know that I'm taking my knowledge. I believe in a metaphysical, spiritual way. I believe that the world is always expanding, right? But, at the end of the day, when you distill that hopefully means that, instead of the next person having to start at A and go to B, they can start at J and go to K, L, M, N, and O, right? The people that have been mentors in my life, and I was just praising many of them the other day. I've had numerous mentors. First person that comes to mind is a gentleman that's sadly no longer with us, called Elliot Roberts, who was Neil Young's manager for almost 60 years before he passed away 18 months ago. And Elliot was a guy that as I was growing up, I was very clear. There was a voice in my ear, whether you look at that as instinct or intuition or the voice of God, that was very clear with me that I was never going to be Jimmy Page or Robert Plant or Neil Young, but that I could be in music. But if I wanted to be in music, I would have to find a path that was not the performing path or the creative path, but someone that supported those people. And the first person that I discovered through my love of Neil Young and Joni Mitchell was this guy, Elliot Roberts, who was the most extraordinary manager, who managed Joni Mitchell, who managed Neil Young, who managed Bob Dylan, who managed Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, and Crosby, Stills and Nash, and the three guys as individuals, and everyone from Devo to the Cars. And he became a great friend of mine, and he became a mentor, and he just taught me a lot. And in many ways, the most important thing that he taught me was to enjoy every minute of what you do. You're not digging ditches. You're part of music. There's all these beautiful people. There's so much that's going on. Enjoy every minute of it, and make sure that the people that you're turning on are people that can then enjoy every minute of what they're doing as well. And then there was a guy called Bruce Finley that managed Simple Minds, that were probably the first big artists that I was personally a part of. And Bruce was the guy that he never distilled it in his words. These are my words, but my job is to make people believe in what I believe in. And because it's an integrity-based system, in order to, for me to have a career, I can only make people believe in the things that I genuinely believe in. Because if I tell you that something is the best thing since sliced bread, then it better be the best thing since sliced bread, because otherwise the next time I come along and tell you this is the best thing since sliced bread, you're just going to shut the door on me, right? So Bruce was the first guy that I ever saw in real time make people believe in what he was believing in. He would tell stories about Simple Minds, and he would gather the record company around, and the promotion people and the sales people, and he would make them want to work as hard for the band as he worked for the band. I was one of the people that he weaved that magic on. And hopefully I've been weaving that same magic on people, for every day of the last 35 years or so as a result. And he's an important part of that. And then, there would be two guys, Rod Smallwood and Andy Taylor, that were guys that managed Iron Maiden and that I managed Iron Maiden with, and became my partners. And the only thing that they both had in common with each other, besides being best friends, was that they could drink anyone under the table. But even then, one of them would drink like crazy and couldn't remember a thing the next morning, and the other one would drink like crazy and could remember the finest points of an 85-page contract. And I sort of became the bastard offspring of the two of these guys, where on the one hand I understood creativity, and on the other hand I understood business, and could bring those two things together in a way that would allow me to, understand and protect the art of these great artists that I work with, and on the other hand, maximize the commerce while ensuring that art was protected. And then the final two people that I would mention would be Elton John and Nile Rodgers, who are two of the greatest artists that I've ever worked with, because our relationships were completely based, and are still completely based, on an enthusiasm for music, right? Have you heard this? No, I haven't heard that. What about this? Have you heard that? Have you seen what's gone into the charts? And Niall and I will every morning our days start with talking about music, and every day our days end with talking about music, and that just makes for incredible joy, and it makes me work harder. It makes him work harder, and my life is blessed to be surrounded by these geniuses.